The following review contains spoilers for Doctor Who Series 12, Episode 5, Fugitive of the Judoon. If you've not yet seen the episode, click off the video now. Okay, can someone please explain what just happened in the previous 50 minutes of my life? Because I don't think I understand what reality is anymore. Hello everyone, Clacka the Geek here. Welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm reviewing Doctor Who Series 12, Episode 5, Fugitive of the Judoon on the Clacka Chronicles. So this episode was written by two people, Chris Chibnall, who's obviously run Doctor Who, obviously, as you know, and Vinay Patel, who wrote Series 11, Demons of the Punjab. He wrote that episode, which I think is fantastic, by the way. So I was looking forward to this episode. However, you can definitely tell that it's written by two different people, because the tonal differences are blatantly obvious. Like, it feels like two separate stories merged to one. It genuinely does. However, the two plots, sort of, that we did get were very enjoyable and were so intriguing. Like, the plots that we did get had my mind going back and forth, constantly. So, first of all, we're going to talk about the first half of the episode with the Judoon in Gloucester. It's very much a typical Doctor Who story, but that is fine for the Judoon especially, because you just see the Judoon doing what the Judoon do. That was a bit of a tongue twister, but you see him just going around scanning people, killing people who are resisting, you know. It's just classic stuff. It's just fun, classic stuff, and I was really enjoying it. That's large part down to the directing, as we've got the cinematography in Gloucester, which is very well done, I've got to say. You know, I was very impressed with it. And then the way that the Judoon are directed, with them marching down the streets, you know, very symmetrical. It is very well done, and the special effects with, like, their guns and the way people, like, vaporise, it's very crisp, very well done. I thought the TARDIS team in this were pretty good. The Doctor had some fantastic scenes in this, such as at the beginning when she reveals that she's been trying to track down the Master after what he did to Gallifrey, and her acting in that is brilliant. And when she's had, like, sort of a traumatising, mind-boggling revelation near the end of the story, she's really, really good. But she has some really cringy dialogue at certain points. Like, some of the dialogue in this, it was really off. It really was. I thought the companions were solid in this episode. Graham got some good one-liners, but other than that, they didn't really have much to do in terms of the overall plot. However, near the end of the story, they did get a really good group moment where they were sort of encouraging the Doctor after over this series, she'd had some pretty rough experiences, and there's been some really big revelations. They were just like, you know, we're family and we'll help you, and it wasn't that basic, but it was done really well, and all three of the actors put in a lot of effort in that scene, so I've got to give them credit there. I also thought the episode also had some relatively good side characters. Didn't have too much to them, but they were serviceable, and they are memorable. So you had Neil Stooks' character, I think that's how you say his name, who was quite memorable, and you also had the coffee shop employee, who you remember for being quite snarky, and, you know, it was pretty funny as well. And then you had Ruth Clayton, who I'll get on into in a moment, but there was a massive twist with her, and the actress who plays her she did a really good job with what she was given there. Okay, so throughout the rest of this video, there will be major, and I mean major, spoilers. So if you've not yet seen the episode, do not watch on. Okay, so two major revelations in the episode. First one being the return of Captain Jack Harkness. Yeah, John Barrowman is back, baby. And I had probably the biggest grin on my face. It's just so good to see him back. Like, he's just got this effortless charm about him. It just brings you right back to the David Tennant era. And I wasn't even watching the David Tennant era, but still, it is just so good to see him back. And he's got the same trench coat, even like the pale blue shirt, and like the sass and the sexiness. It's just, it's so funny. But he's very serious when he needs to be, and like, it's just brilliant. And like he mentions something called the Lone Cyberman, which, you know, sounds pretty mysterious, but he doesn't appear in it for too long, but when he does, it's just brilliant. And then the second revelation is that Ruth Clayton, who I mentioned earlier, turns out to be the Doctor. Right, so you're probably wondering how the hell, what's going on here? I am just as confused, but here's what I've been able to piece together. So, Ruth Clayton was in disguise as a human, bit like in Human Nature Family of Blood when the Doctor turned into John Smith. So, she was disguised as a human, and then she broke this glass, and then sort of Time Lord energy came out, and then she became, like, she remembered, like, the Doctor again. And so the TARDIS was buried underground, they go back in, and it was a classic style TARDIS with the classic console and the roundels, which made me super, like, giddy. And then it is revealed that this Doctor is a past Doctor, because this Doctor can't remember the Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, but Jodie Whittaker can't remember her. So it's just very confusing. So I'm going to put this whole business to one side and talk about the ending for now. So the two Doctors end up on the Judoon ship, and the Judoon have sort of been absent for a while in this episode at this point because of this all this revelation stuff. You know, it's been really bonkers stuff. And yeah, the Judoon sort of just get teleported away. Bit of a Deus Ex Machina, but I think, to be fair, our heads were just so wrapped up in all this madness that we didn't really care about, to be honest. So now let's talk about this new mysterious Doctor. So it is implied in the episode that this Doctor is from the past, so implying that it's before William Hartnell, which doesn't make a lick of sense, because this new Doctor's TARDIS is a police box. However, the TARDIS only became a police box when William Hartnell was the Doctor, and I know that's how it's been a TARDIS since it's been a police box since the beginning. But what I mean is that during the William Hartnell's Doctor's incarnation in the canon of the show, that's when it first became a police box. So if this is before William Hartnell, then that just wouldn't make sense. Here's my theory. I think that this mysterious Doctor is either a future version of the Doctor who has some kind of amnesia, because we have seen future versions of the Doctor, such as the Valyard and the Curator. Or two, and this is my personal favourite theory, it's an alternative timeline of the Doctor, and she's perhaps, I don't know, one of the early Doctors in this alternate timeline, because then, if it was that, A, it's being very experimental, two, it gives you a plausible way of it being a past version of the Doctor, and three, it makes sure that it's not taking a massive dump on donkey's years worth of character development. And if it was a Doctor before William Hartnell, you would lose all that rich character development from William Hartnell's Doctor especially. I could be completely wrong. There have been some other instances in Doctor Who, such as the Brain of Morbius, or I think there was a Doctor Who book called Longbarrow, which sort of delved into the idea that there was more incarnations before William Hartnell. However, I like to think of it as an alternate timeline Doctor. So overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. It's easily my favourite of the season so far. I thought the first half was a very fun, simple but effective, monster of the week run around, and then the second half becomes so experimental, and I've had so much fun talking about it, commenting with my own theories. I've got so many theories in my head. We'd be here all day. So overall, I'm going to give the episode an 8 out of 10. And that's been all from me, Clacka the Geek. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. What do you think of the episode? Leave it in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.